Welcome to The Inner Chosen. Let me ask you something that might stop you in your tracks. What if the person you're becoming is the reason this connection feels so intense? If you've been sensing that something bigger is unfolding, like fate is moving behind the scenes, then you're exactly where you need to be. Because in this video, you're not just going to be entertained, you're going to learn a lot, how to recognize the signs, what they really mean, and how to step into the power of this journey without losing yourself. So take a deep breath, settle in, and welcome. The Inner Chosen starts now. This connection doesn't feel like something you can casually label and move on from. It carries weight, like it arrived with meaning attached to it, and that's exactly why it lingers in your mind even when you try to stay logical. You can sense it in the way your intuition speaks louder around them, in the way silence with them still feels full, as if something unseen is communicating underneath the words. It shows up in the way the relationship pulls you toward purpose instead of distraction. You start thinking beyond romance and chemistry, beyond, do they like me? And into deeper questions like, why did we cross paths? And what am I being called to become because of this? It doesn't just add sweetness to your life, it introduces direction. Even the timing can feel strange, almost too precise, like you met them at a moment when you were ready to wake up, to outgrow old patterns, or to finally choose yourself. And when you look back, you realize the connection didn't just happen to you, it arrived at the exact point your life needed a turning. What makes it different is that it doesn't only feel emotional, it feels transformational. It touches your standards, your vision, your values. You start caring about the quality of your mind, the way you spend your time, and what you tolerate in your life. It's not simply love, it's refinement. And yes, it can be intense, because purpose has a frequency that comfort can't hold for long. If you've been feeling like this bond is bigger than the usual story, trust that feeling. Some connections are not meant to be easy in the way shallow things are easy. They're meant to be real, and real things change you. When two people are meant to grow, they will naturally press on each other's unhealed places. That doesn't mean the connection is toxic. It means it's honest. Their presence exposes the habits you've used to survive. Avoidance, control, people-pleasing, shutting down. And suddenly you can't pretend those patterns don't exist. You may notice that after interactions with them, you reflect more, you become more self-aware, you start catching yourself mid-pattern, mid-reaction, mid-defense. It's like the relationship turns a light on inside you, and once that light is on, you can't unsee what needs to change. The difference between growth and destruction is intention. In a destructive dynamic, pain is used as a weapon. In a growth dynamic, pain becomes information. It points to what needs healing, what needs boundaries, what needs communication, and what needs maturity. You're not being crushed, you're being shaped. This kind of connection asks for courage, the courage to speak when you'd rather disappear, to listen when you'd rather be right, and to stay present when you'd rather run. And the more you choose that courage, the more you realize you're not losing yourself, you're meeting yourself. So if this bond has been triggering you, don't panic. Ask the deeper question. What is this revealing in me? Because the right connection doesn't just make you feel wanted, it challenges you to become whole. And when two people choose growth over ego, the relationship stops being a battlefield and becomes a training ground for power. When you're together, it feels like the air changes, conversations flow faster, ideas land cleaner, and even ordinary moments carry a charge. Like your presence amplifies each other's frequency. It's not about showing off or being loud. It's the quiet kind of power that makes people turn their heads without knowing why. You may notice opportunities appearing in unexpected ways. Introductions happen at the right time, creative sparks show up out of nowhere, and things you've been trying to manifest alone start moving with less resistance. It's as if the universe responds to the combined clarity of two aligned people and starts opening doors that used to feel locked. Even your confidence shifts, not in an arrogant way, but in a grounded way, like you remember who you are. You speak with more certainty, you carry yourself differently, and you stop shrinking your truth to keep things safe. Their belief in you becomes a mirror, and that mirror reminds you of your own strength. Other people can feel it too. Some will be drawn to it, inspired by it, curious about it. Others might feel threatened without understanding why, because your energy together exposes what they've been avoiding in themselves. And that's when you learn that being magnetic is not always comfortable, but it is always revealing. This is what happens when love becomes a force multiplier. Two minds, two hearts, two energies moving in the same direction creates momentum. If you've been sensing that you become more yourself around them, more alive, more creative, more focused, pay attention. That's not random chemistry. That's alignment becoming visible. This connection doesn't let you stay casual about your life. It pushes you to make choices that match the version of you keep dreaming about. Suddenly, procrastination feels heavier, distractions feel emptier, and your old routines start looking like cages you didn't realize you were living in. You begin to feel a quiet urgency, not panic, not chaos, but a steady inner pressure that says it's time. Time to build, time to commit, time to stop waiting for permission. The relationship becomes a mirror that reflects not only your potential, but the cost of ignoring it. You may find yourself cleaning up your life in unexpected ways, cutting off habits that dull you, changing how you speak to yourself, protecting your energy, setting boundaries, getting disciplined, not because they demanded it, but because being close to something real makes everything fake feel unbearable. And this is where it gets serious. You realize love isn't only about feeling good. Love is also about becoming capable of consistency, honesty, maturity, and follow-through. Because if the future you want is big, your character has to be able to hold it. So if you feel like this bond is forcing you to grow up in the best way, don't resist it. Let it refine you. Some relationships are comfort, others are calling. And when a connection activates your purpose, it's not trying to rush you, it's trying to wake you up. Sometimes the connection feels like a lot, not because it's wrong, but because it's real. There's a weight to it, like the relationship carries consequence, like what you choose and how you act actually matters. It's not the kind of love you can treat casually and still expect it to stay pure. The pressure shows up as responsibility. You feel called to communicate better, to be clearer, to handle conflict with maturity instead of impulsiveness. You may even feel the need to get your life in order, because the bond highlights where you've been inconsistent with your own standards. But this pressure isn't meant to crush you. It's meant to focus you. It's productive pressure, the kind that turns potential into structure. It's the difference between dreaming about a future and actually building one with habits, boundaries, and emotional discipline. There will be moments where you feel tested, misunderstandings, outside noise, distance, timing issues, things that force you to choose patience over panic. And each time you choose the higher road, you're not just saving the relationship, you're strengthening your own nervous system and your ability to lead with stability. If you've been feeling that this is serious energy, you're not imagining it. Some bonds come with a training effect, like life is preparing you for a bigger chapter through this relationship. And the pressure you feel might be the sign that what you're holding is powerful enough to require care. When something is sacred, you stop handing it to careless hands. At some point, you realize that not everyone deserves access to your relationship, your plans, or your inner world. You begin to understand that protection isn't fear, it's wisdom. You learn to guard the bond from outside influence, not because you're paranoid, but because you've seen how quickly opinions, jealousy, and casual negativity can seep into something that was meant to be clean. You start choosing privacy over performance, peace over proving. This is also where boundaries become love. You protect your time, you limit draining interactions, and you stop letting third parties become the extra voice in the relationship. Because powerful connections can't survive constant interference. They need space to breathe and grow. And you learn to protect it from internal sabotage, too. You catch the urge to test, to run, to punish, to withdraw, to assume the worst. You start choosing repair over ego, clarity over silent resentment, and honesty over avoidance. That's protection too. In the end, safeguarding the bond is about honoring what it can become. If you feel the instinct to keep it quiet, to move thoughtfully, to build slowly and securely, listen to that. The strongest connections aren't the ones everyone sees. They're the ones that are protected long enough to become unbreakable. At a certain point, you stop announcing your moves. You don't need to post every win, explain every step, or prove you're doing well. The progress becomes quieter, more intentional. Because you're building for results, not reactions. You start noticing how much energy you use to waste performing your life. Now, that energy goes into the work, the discipline, the planning, the follow-through. The glow comes from consistency, not from attention. And that shift alone changes everything. When you're winning quietly, you become harder to disturb. People can't predict your next move, can't interfere as easily, can't drag you into pointless debates. Your peace becomes a strategy, and your silence becomes a shield. This is also when your standards rise. You stop settling for half effort, half love, half truth. You begin to respect your own time and protect your own future, because you're no longer living for today's validation. You're living for tomorrow's legacy. And the best part is, the wins speak for themselves. You don't have to convince anyone. Your life becomes the evidence. Quiet progress is loud in the long run. And when you move like that, you're not just succeeding, you're evolving. A powerful relationship isn't built on perfection, it's built on honesty. You don't need to pretend you're always okay, always strong, always healed. In fact, the real strength is being able to show your truth without turning it into a weapon. Healing love asks you to stay open when it would be easier to shut down, and it asks you to speak your feelings clearly instead of hinting, to ask for what you need instead of testing, and to communicate before resentment has time to grow roots. You learn that being triggered isn't a failure, it's a message. It's your nervous system pointing to an old wound, an old fear, an old story that needs attention. And when your partner is safe enough to face that with you, the relationship becomes a place where you transform, not just cope. This kind of bond teaches accountability. You apologize without making excuses. You listen without preparing your defense. You repair quickly instead of letting pride stretch the distance between you. The goal stops being winning the argument and starts being protecting the connection. And over time, you realize the relationship isn't asking you to be flawless. It's asking you to be real, because real love doesn't demand a perfect version of you. It invites you to heal into your fullest self, and it meets you there with patience, courage, and truth. Before you go, I want you to do one thing. Choose one word that matches what this video awakened in you. Something like chosen, alignment, power, healing, destiny, discipline, union, magnetism, purpose, protection, and write that word in the comments. Let it be your declaration. And if you want this message to reach more people who need it, tap YouTube's hype feature if you see it on this video and support it. Every push helps this reach the right souls. Stay grounded, stay focused, and remember, this path isn't random. It's calling you higher,